Hey, y'all, in this episode of the Carolina Chuck Podcast, I meet with local businessman Shawn Massey. I was first introduced to Shawn Massey through his advertisement campaign. My man's all over billboards, radio, TV, and I heard of quite a few good things through word of mouth. Matter of fact, when I first came to town, I parked the U-Haul right by Massey's furniture barn. Went under a billboard with a dude's picture on it. And with all that advertisement, in this episode, we're going to find out he's got the skills and the passion for the business to back it up. While he's known as the furniture guy at Massey's Furniture Barn, he also has the Massey's Ranch, where he makes genuine North Country maple syrup. So let's get to know Mr. Massey and learn a little history of the area, and maybe get a little inspired, because this man is a hard worker who chases his passions. That'll be good. Check it out. All right. So, dude, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Well, thank you for inviting me out here. I've seen some of your social media content, and you asked me, I was excited to meet you and do this with you.
Yeah, wow, dude, this is pretty crazy. So let me tell you a little story. When I moved up here, I drove the U-Haul truck, and guess where that truck got parked?
I got to guess. It's probably at my store, my furniture store. Yeah.
Yep. Right there. So I saw the big Shawn Massey sign, and I was like, wow. And then I started hearing commercials and stuff, and just as much as the Caprera's almost. So there's that,
Well, then they kind of, led me into that. We see a lot of local businesses advertising for themselves, the owners, like the Caprera's doing it, Charlie and Billy. And so when I was trying to decide for advertising, that's kind of how I got into it. I was like, well, I think I could do that. I wasn't good at it to start. I'm probably not good at it now. But that's kind of what got me into it was, your employer.
I literally dig your commercials, though. I like the style you do because, I don't know. I don't want to say it's corny. I don't want to say corny's the word, but the way you do it is kind of, it's deliberate and it's fun. You know what I mean? And it reminds me of how I would try to talk to girls. You know what I mean? It's like, this is it. This is all you got.
And that's kind of what we do. And it is somewhat corny. It's different. It stands out. And you got to stand out nowadays. You can't just have the same ads.
I don't mean corny in a bad way.
No, I totally get it. Yeah. I totally understand. There is a sea of advertising, and you try to stand out and, try to push what you're good at. And one thing I'm good at is I'm at the store. I'm the owner. There's not a lot of owners at stores anymore. For a lot of businesses, they're either chains or they're non-present owners. Yeah. And so I said, I want to do something different. And I like to tell a story a little bit. Like if you've seen some of my advertising, you'll see how there's a story being told.
Yep.
And that story, I'm keep trying to figure out the next step to that story. And so, I got my son involved in the ads. I started myself, probably, 3 years ago or so, I started doing my own ads, maybe 4. Mm-hmm. And then, as my son got older, my son says he wants to be in the business eventually. And I said, well, I think the first step is you got to be confident a little bit. Yeah. And let's get you on camera. And, of course, he said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that, But I got him on there. And so now the story with my son and the furniture barn is just going to continue. And, the little chapters are going to open up as I'm teaching him the business.
Yeah, and I seen your son on there, and I seen the first couple he did. It's a growth thing. It's exciting. And that's hopefully what comes from this, because I, be honest with you, don't really know what the heck I'm doing. I go home and edit this stuff myself.
Yep.
And every one I do ends up a little bit better. A little bit better,
And my son, you saw the growth of my son even more.
It was amazing.
Everybody said that. I mean, the first few, he was real stiff. He was,
And I think that's kind of what makes it captivating. You know what I mean? You get to watch something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It keeps it going.
So when I do lines, I try to rehearse my lines. With my son being younger, he doesn't have to rehearse as much as I do. And I keep telling him, get ready, Hudson. Get ready for these lines. He's like, I got it, Dad. I got it. Yeah. So it's funny how a younger generation can remember things better than me, and he's getting better than I am, I guess.
And then what I was making videos at the dealership, and I would do a take, and I'm like, man, I'd do it again, and then I got to where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do it live, and
is that how you do it now? When you do it,
a lot of live now. I said, you know what, it's just too much thinking. You know what I mean? So I know what I want to say.
Yep.
And I figure out how to get to that point, and that's.
Speaking of that, that's what I'd like to get to with my advertising. Right now, I do write a script, but I mean, I have it in my head. But to keep it in time constraints. My biggest problem is that 30-second TV ad or 60-second radio ad.
Yeah.
I get tongue twisted at the end. So it's like, I can't fit it all in. But I want to get to that point where I can just rip it off. I kind of know, in my head when 25 seconds is, and then I know how to wrap it up. But that, like you said, we're learning. I'm learning, and I'll get better.
And luckily with this is I get to record as long as I want to. Then I get to go back and cut it to fit the time constraint. So I'll chop it up. I'll get to watch our conversation 100 times and figure out what I can take out.
That's awesome. I love it.
But then I'll post the whole thing to YouTube, so the whole thing.
Will be on there. Then everybody gets more content. So.
Yeah, and then I'm got a podcast too that I'll be posting. I'll pull the audio off and go to that.
I got to subscribe to that podcast too. I'll have to do that when I'm on my way home.
We'll get you hooked up.
Yep.
So how did you get started in the furniture business? Is that the first business that you had?
It's the first business I had. So I'm second generation. My father started the business in 1964, selling used sofas out of a barn. That's how we came up with the furniture barn.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And so my father, over the years, got a little bigger, transitioned into appliances and new furniture, and just grew over the years. And so myself, I was born in 1970. So, my whole life trajectory was going to be in the furniture business. I mean, it was a different time back then when your parents did something. I was only boy. I had 3 sisters, all older than me, but I was going to be in the furniture business. Thank God it worked out. I love the furniture business. It's in my gene. It's in my blood now. So like we said with Hudson, he's the third generation.
Yeah.
And he says he wants to get into the business, but it's a little different time now. I have to let him do and decide. He says he wants to get into it, but you have to say, well, I hope you do. But if your trajectory takes you a different direction, I'll support you. It's a different time. I can't force him into it. I'm hoping he does. I'd love to see a third generation of Massey, cool. Selling furniture.
And he would be probably good at it too.
Yeah, you can see that gift of the gab a little bit. You know what sales are. It's all talking, and it's all you win over their trust, and then they'll buy from you. And I think he's got that. He's got that little.
Yeah, if you're established something for sure. I like the one he did where you were supposedly on the ranch or whatever.
Yes.
And he said we're gonna sell these while he's gone and stuff. I love that commercial.
Yep. And I would like to do more of that. I've been in the furniture business now for 30 plus years, and I'd like to step back. I have other things that we'll probably talk about, some other businesses that I'd like to spend some more time on, and I would come in and help Hudson run the business. So my father did it for me.
Right.
He kind of went to Florida seasonally, but I would talk to him every single day. Any issues that came up, we would solve them together, and that's how I learned the business. And I'd like to do that with Hudson too.
And that's really cool because I work for Frankie. He runs my store, and it's the same way. He'll talk to his dad, and his dad comes in. I usually see him probably once a week. Charlie will come through the store, and it's sort of the same thing. I like it.
That's a good way to learn. It really is. It worked for me, anyways. They don't set you free and make too many mistakes. They'll let you make a few. My father I made a few mistakes, buying too much or selling stuff too inexpensive, not making enough profit. They let you make mistakes, but they're there to guide you. And they say, listen, let's learn from that. Let's change strategies. And it was a really special time. My father and I were really, really close. So,
nice,
it was one of those things. And as a side note, I'll tell you a little story. So, on top of my store, I have a bowl. Did you know they have a big bowl on top of my store?
Oh, big what?
Bowl. Big concrete bowl. So on top of my store.
Really?
You might have never noticed it. It's a big bowl steer with the big horns on it.
Oh, yeah.
Big Apple music way up there on the top.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So there used to be a restaurant on Arsenal Street called Benny's Steakhouse.
Okay.
And that was the steer in front of the restaurant. It was a steakhouse. They had that as a advertisement in front of the store. My father and I go to lunch there every single day.
Yeah.
Every day when he was home from in town, we would go to lunch there. And so they finally sold out, and they were selling everything at auction. And the only thing I wanted that bowl because of just, because of the memories of my father. And so I wanted it at auction, and I had a crane come down and put it on top of my store.
That's awesome.
A lot of people wonder why I have it up there. I say, well, is it because of the furniture barn? I'm like, nah, it's more sentimental to me than that. So.
Wow, that is neat. That's the cool thing.
And as a side note of that, guess who? So we're at an auction, right? A concrete bowl, bidding on it, right?
Yep.
I'm standing around the corner. I'm bidding, 1,000, 1,500. Somebody around the corner keeps bidding. Every time I went 1,500, somebody went 2,000. We got up to like $5,000, and I told my wife, Megan, who is around the corner? Who am I bidding against over there? Who else would want this concrete bowl? Billy Capera. Because he used to have a ranch down in Chameau down there, him and I are friends. And so after finally he let me have it, I outbid him. I go, Jesus, Billy, why do I got to bid against you? More, deep pockets. I'm just old Shawn just trying to get a bull. And he laughed. We had a good laugh over it. So.
That is cool as heck. Now, I'm going to say this. The first time I walked in, maybe the only time so far that I walked into your store, you were in there. And what are the chances? I mean, the guy just said he's in the store all the time. So, yeah, you were definitely in there.
Got to be there. You got to. I mean, I have a good manager. I have a store manager who's been with me 30 years. I mean, so I have good staff, but does not replace an owner. Doesn't.
And how long ago did you take over?
I took over in 1998. So 20 full-time. My father passed away in 98. So that's when I'd say I took over. I worked there full-time, long time before that. But in 98 is when I became the owner of it.
So is it always been in the same location?
It was from 1964 to like 1969, I believe. It was closer to Route 81. And my grandparents' farm, and they had the barn. And my father said, "Hey, Mom and Dad, can I, sell some used sofas out of the back?" And they said, "Sure." Nice. But he didn't know how it would take over, and that's when he eventually bought it was a little railroad depot where I am now, and he kept putting little additions on, and he built Bobby's building that he rents from us now. So.
Nice. So, I know since I've only been here for 2.5 years.
Oh, you're a newbie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to get to know people. But,
yes.
And in that time, I know that you have started a place on Washington Street.
Yep.
Now, is that a partnership with someone?
Partnership. So Hearth and Home and myself decided they wanted to sell pool chemicals at a different location. They wanted to be more in the city because their location's kind of out by Longways Diner. And they wanted a city location. And my daughter dates their son. So there's the connection.
Yep.
And they asked me, "Hey, you want to partner up? How about we do it together and you could sell outdoor furniture?" Because I don't sell outdoor furniture in my store. A little bit, but not a lot. And there's a demand for some nice quality outdoor furniture. Something a little bit nicer than you're going to get at Lowe's.
Right.
So we partnered up, and so we have a partnership up there, doing very well, selling lots of outdoor furniture. They're selling lots of pool supplies. Just been a great win-win for both of us to cut down expenses. It's a seasonal store. We were going to stay open in the winter. We couldn't quite figure out what would sell in the winter at that location. So we decided to close it for the winter and then open it back up and just open up for the summer.
Nice. Yes, because there's a lot of I've ventured out and around, and there is a lot of beautiful places that would require some beautiful outdoor stuff.
Absolutely.
Furniture.
Yeah, there's some of the newer outdoor product they come out with now with canopies and the sectional sofas that look just like they should be in a home.
Yeah.
But they're outdoor. It's unbelievable, some of this furniture they're coming out with.
All right. So there's that.
Yes.
There's also the maple stuff.
Yes. So that's Massey Ranch. So Massey Ranch, I started in 2009. I bought some land. So I bought a couple 100 acres of land and I built my home. And so, little backstory to it. I grew up where Red Lobster is. That was where I grew up. My father had a home there. And he had 150 acres. So we own pretty much all that where Walmart is and behind there. And Route 202, that whole corner, we own that. And there's maple trees back there. They cut down a lot of them, which made me so sad. But he had a little sugar bush back there, and he made maple syrup. Not to this scale. He tapped like a couple 100 trees. But I remember as a kid going back there. I didn't really help him make the maple syrup, but I do remember going back there and seeing him boil. I was little. I was probably 8 or 9, and I remember it. So when I bought this land and I built my home, a buddy and I said, "Geez, there's some maple trees on the property." I go, let's get a turkey fryer and we'll tap 25 trees. Let's make a little syrup.
Yeah.
Tap 25 trees. We boiled on turkey fryers. Following year, I'm like, let's tap 100. Maybe we'll get a little flat pan, build it out of bricks and a flat pan. We'll do a little bit. Okay, sounds good. Well, that kept continuing. And then the following year is 300 trees and then 500 trees. And let's build a little sugar shanty. Well, let's buy an evaporator. And then so I got to the point where I'm still small in the big scheme of things, but I tapped 1,500 trees. 40 acres of maples I tap, all on tubing. I actually suck it out of the trees.
What?
Do you know about maple syrup?
I honestly do not.
I was going to say, from the South.
This is a whole new thing. So I was kind of hoping we'd get a little education on it.
I'll break it down a little bit for you. A lot of locals up here kind of know some of this stuff, but I want to teach you.
I appreciate that.
So what comes out of the tree is sap. Have you seen what sap looks like?
I know what sap looks like.
Not pine sap. This looks just like water.
All I know is pine sap.
Okay, so it's thick and sticky like maple syrup.
Yep.
Well, the sap I'm gathering, I drill a hole in the tree, and it drips out, and it drips out like water. Looks just like water. It tastes like water. It's 98% water out of the tree, 2% sugar. So what I do is I gather thousands of gallons of it. So in a good day, a tree might give me 2 gallons, 3 gallons of sap. Well, if you got 1,500 trees all doing that, so now all of a sudden you have 3,000 gallons of sap. So I'll haul that 3,000 gallons of sap back to my sugar shanty. That's what I call the building I make the syrup in. And I have these big evaporators, big pans, and I put all the sap in the pans. I keep boiling it, adding more sap. Keep boiling it, adding more sap until it boils down to 219 degrees. Once it hits 219 degrees, it's officially maple syrup.
Yeah.
But it's 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. It's 40 to 1. What? So when I came out of the woods with that 3,000 gallons of sap, I spend all day boiling, and I'll make 50 gallons of syrup. The rest of it just went up in steam.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's pretty unique. It's pretty unique for, the northern area to make syrup.
Really
It's fun to watch. Wherever anybody lives out there, and yourself included, next spring, because we only do it in the springtime, the day the first warm day to the day the trees bud, about 6 weeks we make maple syrup for. Then we're done for the following year.
Wow.
But you should get out in the country and see us making it.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Because, you've heard about it.
Yeah, we've done very well. I'm not toot my horn. I'm a pretty good marketer. So, so I market Massey Ranch really, really well. And I grow pumpkins out there. I have hay. I put up about 5,000 bales of hay a year on the ranch for horse farms around here. Then I do maple syrup. So, the whole ranch itself has really became a business in its own and a whole brand in itself. We're carried Hannaford, started carrying my product now, so it's in Hannaford.
Holy moly.
It really is a unique product. And we make, she have maple syrup, but we make maple candies, those little maple leaf candies. They look like a maple leaf. I don't know if you've ever seen them. We make those in-house. There's a product called maple cream that's pure maple syrup. We heat it up hotter than 219. We put it in this machine that spins, and it turns it in the consistency of peanut butter. So it's maple syrup that looks like peanut butter. Put it on an English muffin, toasted English muffin.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to say this again. As busy as you are, I appreciate this even more now that you start talking. Golly.
So maple cream, and then I also bought something kind of neat from the South, bourbon. That's called bourbon barrel maple syrup. Yeah. Pretty unique stuff. So I'll buy a freshly dumped bourbon barrel from a distillery, and I'll take my maple syrup and I'll put it in that barrel and I'll let it age for a year. And for some reason, maple syrup and bourbon flavors go together. I don't even like bourbon. But bourbon maple syrup, if you've never had it, you'll taste it and say, why does that maple syrup taste so good? It picks up the char from the barrel and the essence of the barrel, and there's no alcohol in it, so it's safe. Kids can drink it. You can drive home. You don't have to worry about anything. But that's a pretty neat product that we make out there to the ranch.
Holy moly, dude. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go home and make some pancakes.
Yeah, right. You want breakfast right now, right?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
But maple syrup's a lot of work. You can't do, my ranch wouldn't run without my friends and family. I have some buddies that help me. My in-laws, it takes a lot of people to make maple syrup. All the hauling of the sap out of the woods, and there's a lot of work. It's not, you got to love it. You don't, and it's not profitable. I'm not making money out of the ranch. It's my hobby. Right. It's what I do. Some people have a race car. Some people have, this or that. I have a farm.
Some people got a podcast.
Some people have a podcast. Exactly. Yeah. And you strive for the business to thrive.
Right.
But, at this point, and my wife, every year I'm like, okay, we need to buy this piece of equipment. We need to buy this for the ranch. She's like, okay. Yeah. Because there's no end to it. Same with this. I'm sure even the better microphones, better,
Oh, yeah.
There's no end to, what you can do. But, I just feel that, it's what I enjoy doing. Now the day I don't feel like doing it anymore, if my kids don't want to do it, then that's when I sell it. I say, okay, well, I won't do it anymore.
I don't know about it, but I heard that you also just opened up another spot. Yeah, an ice cream thing.
Yes.
Is that true?
So, about a month ago, I bought the ice cream stand in Sackett's.
Really?
So it's right in downtown Sackett's, right across from Goodfellows. I don't know if you've been down to Sackett's. Goodfellows Restaurant, Tin Pan.
Yep.
Right across the street, there's a little bitty building there. It's a cute little building. And it's a little ice cream stand. Nice. So I purchased that. My daughter's graduated college. she's taking some state boards, and she'll be doing something else fairly soon. But right now, she's helped me run that. She worked there in high school and early college, so she knows about the ice cream business. But
yeah.
it's kind of exciting. I enjoy exploring businesses and learning businesses. I've worked it. I've made maple, milkshakes, flurries. I've done it myself. I worked it all by myself one day because if I own something, I want to know about it. I want to know how it works. My wife's the same way. My wife's working there right now, believe it or not, in Sackett. She's down there working right now.
Nice.
We
So
your
like daughter's got 2 connections so far that I figured. She's got the outdoor furniture spot and the ice cream thing. Kind of getting locked down. I see that. Dude, so you've gone for furniture, and I mean, anything else you got coming up? I mean, you cooking?
I don't know. I'm a U-Haul dealer. I do some commercial real estate. I do some of that. I do some residential real estate. I own a few duplexes, so I have some real estate on the side that I do. I've owned them for a long time. I enjoy that too. I've flipped a few houses. I've done a little bit of everything. I hustled. That's what you got to do nowadays. When I was younger, my first house was a duplex. I bought a duplex. I lived downstairs, and I had 10 upstairs to pay my mortgage. I still own that. I own that duplex to today.
Wow.
This day.
Dude.
And things like that I did when we were young really made a difference as I got older. And just trying to plant the seed, not rent, and try to do the right thing. It just financially was. I guess my father instilled in me. I don't know. For some reason, it just worked for me. That business thing. He taught it to me. I don't know if I was born with it or I was taught, but that entrepreneur thing, it just works. Even with ice cream, I'm marketing it. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to pitch the ice cream stand. We've painted it. We're going to do some landscaping. And I'm like, and every business has a different budget. With Massey's Furniture Barn, I have a fairly substantial budget for advertising. Mm-hmm. Ice cream stand doesn't have that type of revenue. So now I got to get real creative. I got how can I get my name out there without spending a ton of money? You're probably with this somewhat, trying to get the name out there, but you don't have, you can't spend $10,000 a month on TV or radio ads. You got to think, how can I do it? And that's fun for me. I love thinking that way.
And the fact that you've got the whole social media thing down, I mean, you're getting it down pretty good. You're on TikTok, and a matter of fact, I think that's how we got a hold of each other.
It was. Yes, exactly.
And you know what else? The first guy I did the show with was Joe Fay, the guy driving the Tesla truck, and that's how I got a hold of him too. Straight like, I don't even know how to operate TikTok too good. You know what I mean?
And I'm trying to post on it. It's a strange platform. That TikTok is strange. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out my way through that, what people react to and what they don't. Yeah. Everything's, the ones that do kind of go somewhat viral for my little world are ones they were not that good a video.
I think I make a good one, and then I get 72 views on it.
I know.
It's crazy. I'm really trying to figure that out. But this guy, he's got it down. He's got 3.5 million followers.
I got to see that. I want to see that. I didn't know he was your first guy. I'm interested
It's going to be on pretty quick. I actually turned everything in today. It'll be
great.
It'll be coming on.
He's a great customer of the store. He buys the furniture from me.
Yeah, he's a
nice guy.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. We text now. It's pretty cool.
That's good. And and with social media, it's so important with the business now to be involved with social media. And number 2, and this is kind of a, I'm sure not just only, I talk a lot of business, but that's what I know.
Yeah.
Is, being involved with the community. Caparis taught me better than anybody is, give to local, DPAO, ARC, hospice. Get involved with the community. Give back a little bit if you can. I mean, obviously, when you're starting out a business, you can't. But I have, I give back a lot.
I was going to bring that up for you. I have seen you do quite a few charity things.
Yeah, I mean, I just did a milk fundraising, and we donated $10,000 to the food banks around here for milk. I try to think of things that and I personally gave $4,000 of that 10 myself. Is you got to give back the community. I hear Billy say it. I hear Charlie say it. The community is what gave me what I have. Mm-hmm. So the least you can do is, if you're successful, is give what you can, or you don't even have to give money. Just get involved and volunteer and stuff like that. I think it really does pay dividends. The community appreciates it.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff is rubbing off on me. Like, I'm doing things. I mean, I ain't got a whole lot of money. You know what I mean?
It's time.
I'm getting out there doing. I did the polar bear dip. That was fun.
It's awesome.
I did the hospice thing, radiothon, I think last year. I did the Battle of Badges, you know.
Yep.
I mean, you know, I did stuff to help draw in the community. And
For one, you meet more people, shake a lot of hands. Number two, you're helping a good cause. You know, you pick your causes that you really enjoy, and it'll pay dividends back. Because, like I said, you know, the growth of my main business, the furniture barn, over the last 15 years, it's been 5-10-fold. I wish my father's alive to see the type of volume I do now. Just because of what he taught me. I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong. It's just he taught me too well. He lit
a fuse.
He lit a fuse, and boy, I know he's looking down.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, dude, I'm highly impressed, and dude, the way that you run things and you're constantly evolving into different situations. I mean, put it like this: you are an entrepreneur that entrepreneurs will look up to. I mean, you're doing like things you want to do at this point,
Yep.
And we see it, and it's pretty awesome. I like the way you're able to take one main business and then create other passionate businesses and make them successful. That's pretty. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. It's something I enjoy doing. If it's a job, then don't do it or find something else. You got to enjoy it. I'm sure you enjoy doing this, right?
Oh yeah. I think they call that the American dream or something.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's awesome. What's that on your hat right there?
This is the Predators hockey.
Oh,
so I'm trying to get into hockey a little bit. I have some good friends that live in Nashville, and so I go to Nashville quite a bit. My family, we all go to Nashville quite a bit. And so Predators have a stadium right there downtown Nashville, so I've been to a couple of the games, and so yeah.
But I
am a big Steelers fan, so I don't know if you like football at all. Huge Steelers fan.
It's I like football, but not the Steelers.
What do you like?
The Panthers, man. I come from
Carolina.
Listen, I lived 35 minutes from Charlotte, in South Carolina.
Yep.
And when you go to work in Charlotte. So I spent, my whole adult life in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the surrounding areas. So I mean, I've been to the Panther Stadium quite a bit. But when I came up here, I didn't know anything about hockey. But I went to a couple of the Wolves games, and it's kind of neat, especially when you go live. Right? Maybe you're not watching on TV, but the sound and everything is cool live.
Same here. That's how I got into it. I sponsored the Wolves, and so I had a little table there, and I'd take the family, and we'd sit right there by the ice and see it live. I would never watch it on TV. I still don't really watch it too much on TV. But to watch a game live,
it's neat. And
just like you said, totally different experience.
Yeah, totally different. And there's one thing my wife was like, she was all about it. And this is like, she watches some baseball with me, but she gets bored. I like baseball pretty big. I'm big. I'm not a Braves fan.
Yep.
And she won't watch football for anything. But when I'm like, hey, you want to go to a Wolves game? The first one we went to, she was like, oh, this is awesome. She was way into it. And I was like, this is cool. We found something
that you like together.
Yeah.
And that Wolves is a great facility and a great thing for the community during the winter. There's nothing to do around here.
Yeah.
Go to a hockey game is great. And I think I'm hoping baseball games over there get better attended. I sponsored a few. I've been to a few games over there and throughout the pitch and everything. Doesn't seem like they get the attendance I was hoping they would get. So I'm hoping that they can turn that around.
Yeah, I went to a couple of Rapids games last year, and I got one of their hats right there.
Oh, good.
But I love baseball, and it reminds me. You've heard of the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, I went to the Syracuse one.
So check it out. I live 15 minutes from Gastonia, North Carolina.
You're kidding
And
me.
that's where the Gaston Grizzlies were. So the guy that owned the Gaston Grizzlies also owned the Savannah Bananas. And he sold the Grizzlies just so he could focus on the bananas.
And I watch him on LinkedIn, and he is quite a character with the yellow hat. But I love watching him. Like, same thing you said. Yeah. What an entrepreneur. Thinking outside the box.
Heck yeah.
Laying it down. Look at that now. Savannah Bananas is huge.
I mean, you think about it. Take pro wrestling and then just fake sports, and it could be amazing. Like,
I know.
Fake football or something.
If he pitched that to a lot of investors, they'd be like, no way. Or you can't do that with baseball and have them dancing. And He did it. I'm telling you right now. And believe it or not, so they're coming to Buffalo. Did you see this summer?
Yeah.
And you have to go in a lottery to win tickets. In the lottery I put my name in the fall. I won.
No,
so I won 5 tickets. So I got them for Buffalo. But it's like July 5th, 6th, or 7th. It was just like,
I
hate going. I love 4th of July. It's my favorite holiday.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I used to go. We used to cut. 'Cause we lived about 4 hours from Atlanta, so we'd go to a lot of Sunday games because they played at 1:00. Get up early and haul butt down to Atlanta and watch, dude. And it gets hot in Atlanta,
does it,
dude? So yeah, I'd have to go get those little wet towels from Lowe's that you pop them and they get cold and you just stuff them down the back of your shirt.
Holy cow!
Because it was 1:00, dude, in Atlanta. Holy moly, it's hot.
I do got to see a Major League Baseball game though. I've never done it, and people say it's the same as hockey to a certain extent. Seeing it live is a lot more fun than watching baseball on TV. So I gotta try that.
Yeah, what screwed me up so bad about watching the Braves anymore is I've probably been to like 8 games and they've won every one that I went to. So I'm so freaked out. Like I'll have to go early in the season. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to, because if they start getting towards I don't want to screw that up and jinx it or anything. But everyone I went to, they've won. I'm like, holy moly, dude! It's when they started doing really good. Is when I quit going. I'm like,
Well, superstitions like that are funny. So I try to go, my son and I, my family go to probably 4 Steelers games a year. And it's great when they come to Buffalo, close by. Yeah. Awesome.
But
they always beat us, and we're always holding our heads low. And, that Buffalo crowd, man, they're tough.
I went to a Panthers game, and we played the Giants. And they beat the crap out of us.
Sure.
I were leaving, and I came back the next year. We played them again, and then we skunked them, and I was just all over their fans.
Yeah,
they were leaving. I was like, the walk of shame, the walk of shame. Like it was awesome. But now I can't say anything this past year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but
my Steelers.
We're rebuilding, hopefully, like when the Braves weren't doing too good. Like they got rid of they got rid of their coach, they got rid of a lot of our best players, and we're all like, oh no, this is terrible. It's all front office stuff.
Yeah.
But they immediately turned it around and started winning championships and stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that that's just going to happen, but I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
See. But dude, so man, I appreciate you coming on.
Not a problem. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I hope I gave you a little information about me, and who knows what's next for me. I'm sure there'll be something else that will come down my way. And
I super appreciate you coming in here.
And hopefully, I know you got good things coming. So it's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.